Hey, what's going on, everybody? Wanted to release a solo episode for the first time in quite some time. In a couple of days, I'm headed to Chicago to meet with my Skeleton Key Mastermind and can't wait to spend a couple of days with high-level individuals diving deep on business, life, relationships, and how we can truly tap into the life that we truly want to live. And so I wanted to share my thoughts with you this week on how you can truly continue to live your best life, continue to stay on mission, even during the busy times in life, even during the busiest season where your head is down working in your business or trying to heal relationships or trying to manage your spiritual path. How can we make sure that we are taken care of in this time where we can get weak, we can get depleted, we can get sidetracked? And there's a saying that I have said for years, which is the most selfless thing we can do is to be selfish. Let me say that again. The most selfless thing we can do is to be selfish. So what does that mean, right? As impact-driven individuals, impact-driven entrepreneurs, people who want to change the world for good, people who want to impact a life in a positive way, we tend to get exhausted. We tend to help others more than we're helping ourselves, therefore depleting our morale, depleting our energy, depleting our drive to continue down the path of our purpose. And I realized years ago, a common denominator behind all the people that I've interviewed is that every single day, their non-negotiables are there to take care of themselves in some way, shape, or form, the things that fill their cup. And so this episode is about giving you permission to make sure every single day to be a little selfish, to make sure you fill your cup, to make sure you do the things that keep your energy up, that make you feel good, that make you feel loved, that make you feel enough as you pursue your purpose and your dream as an impact-driven entrepreneur. And so I want to share with you, I have 4 non-negotiables every single day that I make sure I do in some way, shape, or form in order to make sure that my cup is full. And that way, during seasons of craziness and seasons of busyness, I can make sure that I still feel good at the end of every single night and be excited to wake up the very next day. And so these are my 4 things. The first one is I move my body in some way, shape, or form, whether that's taking a walk in the morning with my wife, whether that's going downstairs in the basement to work out and lift some weights. I move my body in some way, shape, or form, and that could be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour to an hour and a half, depending on what my day looks like, but I make sure I get it done. Second thing is I do some sort of visualization practice, whether it's 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I make sure I do it. And what this does is it reinvigorates my soul and my drive to continue to pursue my passion in the future. So I could be visualizing something big. I could be visualizing where I see myself at the end of my life. I could be visualizing something small, like a podcast interview I had to do that day to make sure that I'm committed to the impact, right? But it gets me excited to do the work that I need to do. If you can envision yourself at the finish line, whatever that looks like for you, if you can envision yourself there and tie all of your feelings and your emotions and your senses to it, what's it feel like? What's it smell like? What's it look like? All those things, it makes it a lot easier to do the work that you need to do in order to make sure you get there. So I do a visualization practice. That's the second thing. The third thing is I learn something new every single day. So that's whether that's reading a book or listening to a podcast or reading an article online about something specific. I need to make sure that I'm constantly filling my brain with new information, new knowledge, because number one, if you're not feeding your brain, it's going to die earlier than you want it to die, right? There's too many diseases tied to that. So we got to make sure we keep our brain healthy. But what this also does in long term is that you can serve your community, you can serve your audience, you can serve your friends better by being a more knowledgeable person. So third thing is I learn something new every day. And number 4 is I reach out to somebody I care about every single day just to see how they're doing. Not to expect anything in return. It's just a simple, hey, just wanted to see how you're doing. Hey, wanted to let you know you're the man or the woman. Like all these things, right? Just to make sure things are good in their world. And most people hear me say that and they go, well, Justin, that seems to fill their cup because somebody's checking on them. But the reality is it's a huge boost for me to know that I'm in a place in my life that I can take a moment every single day to make sure somebody's okay. And it's just a simple text. Like it takes 15 seconds. And the neat part with doing this is I realized that building this muscle over time, there's not many days that go by that I don't hear from somebody checking on me. And it's become such a great community builder, relationship builder, and booster to my morale at certain times. Because the reality is, look, I host this podcast and I continuously learn and I go to events and I connect with people and I hire coaches and I do all these things. But I'm not perfect, right? I still struggle. There are still moments of hanging my head low and saying, who am I to believe that I could do this? But if I make sure that I check these 4 things, these 4 non-negotiables off my list every single day, it makes it a lot easier to get up through those moments of being down. It makes it a lot easier for me to continue to push forward towards my goals. Now, obviously, I'm stoked this week because at the end of this week on Thursday, I'm flying out to Chicago, spending a couple days there with the Skeleton Key Mastermind, which has been the greatest collection of entrepreneurs that I have ever put together. And I feel blessed to call them my community. But, we don't always have that at the end of every week. We don't always have the bright, sunny rainbow, the fun times, the big smiles at the end of every single week. So we need to make sure we take care of ourselves. So any impact-driven entrepreneur listening right now, any impact-driven individual listening right now, any parent listening right now, anybody who's listening right now who feels like they're giving so much and they're not getting in return, here's your permission to give to yourself. I want you to take time out of every single day, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 3 hours, to make sure you're taking care of yourself and filling your cup. I promise you it'll be a lot easier to handle all the stresses in life if you do so. I appreciate you guys for listening every single week. As you know, I want to let you know I'm taking next week off because I want to make sure that the content is top notch for you guys. So we're taking next week off, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. And with that being said, if you're enjoying this content, if you're loving the podcast, please go rate, review, and subscribe over on Apple Podcasts, I think is the name now. Rate, review, and subscribe over there, or shoot a 5-star rating over on Spotify if you guys are listening there. It helps other people find the show. And at the end of the day, this is all about a movement. How can we create a movement so people understand that growth is the only goal we need in life? I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Growth Now movement. This is how you can really help me out. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And let's grow this movement to epic heights, and it's all going to be because of you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.